I'm going to start recording. Hey, everybody. It is Lauren here. It is our Team Boosh November 5th call. And today we're going to be chatting about Instagram growth and how to grow your Instagram account to get more followers that hopefully then convert into customers. So this is actually based off of a paid training that I went through with Chalene Johnson and her son, Brock. It was a really great program that I went through. I learned a lot, even though I've been on Instagram for years now. So I took some of the highlights, I took some screenshots of their screens and really wanted to share it with our team so that you can benefit from this too. So give me a moment and I will start presenting my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see it. Jack, can you just nod if you can see it? Yes, okay, cool. So, how do I scroll? Okay, so the goal of this training is to teach you how to grow your Instagram and reach more people. So the tactics that we're going to be talking about tonight is really helping your content, the content that you post on your feed, reach more people and hopefully gain more followers. So I know a lot of people are on stories and kind of like using the stickers and the GIFs and the polls and things like that. And the thing to keep in mind is that stories are really relevant for people that already follow you. So we're not going to dive into stories during this training. Instead, we're going to be talking about how to post valuable content, how to serve your potential customer, and really just gain more reach and reach more accounts that hopefully will then want to follow you. These are business tactics for people that truly want to run a business. This isn't for someone that just like wants more followers, like to be cool, get likes. And Chalene recommended that like with these things that we're teaching you, you're going to implement them. You're going to have to dedicate at least an hour a day of being on Instagram to really like go through this process. Hold on one second. I just see a few other people requested to okay. The other key thing to note for this in terms of the training and the things that we're going to be teaching is that your Instagram account has to be public and that you have to have a business account to be able to view the insights to benefit from this as well. So, I mean, overall, I think a lot of us have talked about this before. Like, if you're not public, you're not going to be able to grow a business and to reach out to as many people as if you were. So that's kind of the caveats that Chalene and Brock went over that you need to remember with all of these things that we're going through. Okay, so some of the like just the overview about Instagram, and the thing that I really liked about this training is that basically Chalene and Brock have grown a lot of really big accounts, and they have like this Marketing Impact Academy that they've taught other people how to do this too, and they actually have a relationship with Instagram. So like they have worked with Instagram to verify some of the things that they're teaching. They have worked with Instagram to ask them questions about hashtags and if it matters, if you put it in the post or in the comment and things like that. And they've learned and done a lot of studying about the algorithm. So the thing to keep in mind, especially in 2020, is that Instagram very closely tracks how much time you are on the app and really who you're interacting with, what kind of content you're interacting with, and their goal is to get you to stay on Instagram longer. So they want you to spend more time on their app. And basically what they do is when they're tracking kind of what you're doing and what you're interacting with, they show you more of that. So if you realize that you're always watching someone's stories, whether it's someone on our team or a celebrity that you love, it's no surprise that that's popping up in your feed every time there's a new post, or that that's at the beginning of the stories of the circles that you see. because they're literally tracking what you're doing and they're showing you more stuff like that and like accounts like that to get you to engage in more content and stay on the app longer. Another thing that you really need to realize is that growing your account is a mix of creating great content and also engaging with other people. So the way that she kind of put it that really made me sit back and think was like, you cannot be a prima donna and think that you're just going to post something with the right hashtags, like suddenly you're going to gain 10,000 followers. Like if you're literally only opening the app to make your post and to see who liked it, and then you're closing out of it, they don't see you as a high value Instagram customer because you aren't engaging with other people. You aren't having conversations with other people. So it's a mix of you coming up with content and you trying to reach people. It's a mix of you interacting with the people that like your stuff. It's starting conversations on posts and in DMs. And it's like finding new people and you interacting with new people too. So it's a two-way street. And really when you're dedicating time to grow your business, you need to do both parts. It's not just you posting stuff, it's you interacting with people too. We obviously know that Instagram changes all the time and there's new features that are always coming out. So it's important to keep up with that stuff. And even though it can sometimes be scary or new, or you don't feel like you know what the heck you're doing, it's important to realize that like when something new launches, that's what Instagram is going to put all of their kind of like energy and things behind. So Reels, obviously, they're new. They're like TikTok. They're basically like the new TikTok. And if you look on your Explore feed or on your feed, you probably see that there are a lot of videos and Reels and things like that. And when Reels first launched, I swear it was the only thing I saw on my Explore feed. And that's because they wanted more people to use it. So you need to be willing to kind of just like dive in when something new comes, to try it out, to be willing to not be perfect, and just like give it a try and see what works. And then lastly, it's really important that you use the data and the insights that Instagram gives you, because that's going to be really telling of like what's working, what gets engagement, and what you should do more of. And you'll only be able to have those insights if you have a business account. And on the other slide before this, I gave you a link to a tutorial of like how you can change your account over so that it is that, if it isn't that already. Shoot, what do I do next? Okay. So first I wanted to talk about bio. So this stat was pretty interesting to me. A person decides in 6 seconds or less if they want to follow you. So when you really take a look at Instagram and at your profile and at like your bio and really like the top 1/3 of what's shown, it needs to be clean. It needs to look professional if you're trying to run a business. And there's definitely marketing opportunities that you can have in terms of what you're talking about and the words that you're using. So I know a lot of us here, and I had this for years because I was kind of following what other Beachbody coaches were doing, have an actual like bio that may say like, mine before was like mom to be and fire wife and I have a dog and like I have Hashimoto's and all of these things. And it was like a bunch of things, but it wasn't saying what I do for the people that are my customers. So they came up with this really good like kind of formula to figure out a mission or a tagline for your actual niche that gets very clear and very to the point as to like what you do and what you help people do. So I have Brock's example there, and then I also have the example of what I changed mine to. So my bio now says, I help women create a healthy lifestyle that still includes weekly cocktails and pizza. Then the second line is a line of credibility. So mine is that I've coached over 1,000 women. And it doesn't have to necessarily be about that. The credibility could be about your own weight loss goal, or the fact that you're like a certified certified in Ultimate Portion Fix or something like that. But just some sort of credibility that you can give to the fact that you are running this business is going to help. And then having a call to action and a link to some sort of a custom website. So for my example, like I have a website, which I know not everybody has. And I have a page that talks all about boot camp where people can request more information. So the thing that I usually am talking to people about is my monthly boot camp. So that's what I want to link to. Maybe if you have a free meal plan, maybe if you want someone to sign up for a newsletter or something like that. It doesn't have to be a website, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like, I don't know what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a website. You can literally create like a free Google form or a free link tree if you want to, that has multiple links, but like tell them what to click through to in your bio, because having a website or like a link to a website is the one thing that every Instagram account can have, regardless of how many followers you have, which is great. So then the next thing I think to talk about too is understanding just like the aesthetics of your picture, understanding your handle and your name and the difference between that as well. So it was kind of funny because during this training with Chalene, like they gave a lot of examples of like good bios and bad bios. And it really did make me think, like, if in 5 seconds or less I was thinking about who I was going to follow or not, like having a very clear picture where you're smiling, where you're not wearing sunglasses, where it's just you and like you presenting yourself is super important. So taking a closer look, I mean, I've had headshots done before, but like my picture I did in my house, like with good lighting, and like I posed and did it years ago. So just taking a look at that. Knowing the opportunities between your Instagram handle and also the name that displays is also important too. So for me, like my Instagram handle is @lipstickandlunges, which is like my business name. Chalene was a really big fan of if you can have your name in it, where if it's like Corey Muller Fitness or Jacqueline Renee Inspiration or Ashley Fitness Coach or something like that, having your name in it is good. If your name isn't in your handle, at least having your name then in like the actual name that displays is good, because you look like a person. Like you want people to get to know you and get to know you and your business. So since all of us are like individual business owners, you want your name in there somewhere. There's also an opportunity in your name that's listed to get a little more granular. So mine, I updated to be Lauren and Fit Pregnancy, because that's the stage that I'm at in my life. You have an opportunity to change that, and you can change it, I think, like a couple times every 14 days or something like that. So thinking about your ideal customer and who that customer is and what they would be searching for is a good way to think of what you could kind of tack on to the end of that. Sorry, I'm seeing there are some things in the chat. I'm not going to answer them right now. Okay, so I think those are the main things about bio and cleaning that up. The only other thing I wanted to note is about the mission and tagline. I think that there really is an opportunity to get more granular than probably what a lot of us are doing now. So the more specific that you can get in who you're talking to in your posts and who you're realizing who your ideal client is, the better and the easier it's going to be to have people come to you. Like, as opposed to just being like, I'm open, I'll sell Beachbody to anyone, I don't give an F. Like, you're talking to no one because you're so wide. So it's kind of like, okay, do you really only sell to moms? Like for me, I have a feeling that like I'm kind of going to lean more towards new moms because that's the new part of my life that I'm going into. Or maybe it's someone that's in their 20s or their 30s because that's where you're at. Maybe like for Kim Chapman, it's runners that want to also incorporate in like within marathon training, they want weights. Like how can you get more specific about who you help when you're creating that kind of like target market message that you're making? So that's important too. Okay, now we're gonna go into some of the things that they shared about posting. So in a lot of these, I literally just screenshotted the slides that Chalene actually made. And this was a really good one for me, to be honest. And there was kind of like an aha moment there as well. So this is kind of a gut check of like the actual content that you're putting on your profile. Like, is it something that someone else would want to share? Does the image grab your attention? Like, does it look like it's edited, or is it in good lighting, or is it like just the same old selfie that you keep posting? What's the value of the post to others? Is this post genuinely consistent with your message of whatever your business is and your target market is? Is the content bright and light? Does it benefit your target audience? Does it serve or inspire people in some way? And does it align up to what is in your bio? So like constantly thinking before you post, like, is this really going to help someone? Chalene and Brock mentioned that if you really want to be growing your account, you should be posting on your profile 5 to 6 times a week, which I can already say I don't do that. But that's also why my reach hasn't grown. Like I have been more in kind of management mode of trying to like engage more with the people that already follow me. But it's when you're posting new stuff on your profile and using hashtags and having good content that you can reach more people. And one of the biggest things and kind of like, oh damn moments was when Chalene was like very bluntly honest about some of the content that people are posting and being like, I don't give a shit about your dog, about your kids, like about a sweaty selfie that you post every other day. It's not thinking about, like, that stuff can be fine in stories when people follow you and when they get to know you. But like the value that you are bringing on your profile as a business owner, would someone want to share your sweaty selfie to other people? Probably not. Maybe your before and after results, or maybe your top tips about meal planning and nutrition. But like you have to think about the content that you're sharing. And we'll get into this later, but like when you look at what Instagram values in terms of interaction, a like is kind of like the lowest thing down there, because it literally takes half a second for someone to like a picture. For someone to comment on a picture or to share it or to save it because it's something valuable that they want to go back to, that is showing a higher level of engagement in terms of things that that they value and that they want, that you would want to share, serving as a business owner trying to get more customers. She had some feedback on kind of like thinking about when you're sharing things, like if the content is super long, so like if the content is word heavy or like paragraphs or like slides of paragraphs, then you probably wouldn't have a very long caption, versus like if it's a photo and you want to have a longer caption, like just making sure that you balance that out and think about those types of things. The first line obviously has to create some sort of curiosity or reel them in. So I think a lot of the times, and I know I do this, I kind of just like write on my phone, like when I'm ready to post something. What she suggested to do was like to write out all your entire caption of what you're trying to talk about, and then go back to the first line and either rewrite it or Google something or like come up with something that would really grab someone's attention. Because I can tell you, I work in marketing and people don't read everything. So if they're only going to read the first half and you have a second when someone's scrolling to bring them in, like what can you say to grab their attention? Including a call to action or CTA in your posts as much as possible is going to get that higher level of engagement of something being shared or commented on or things like that. So they had some really great examples that I found helpful in terms of phrases that you can say to try and generate more engagement in your posts. So whether you say comment below to tell me your favorite blah, 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 or save this post or tag a friend who blah, 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 like there's all different types of options, but like how can you encourage people? How can you encourage conversations on your posts? Here's some good examples. Okay, then starting to get into hashtags. So I will caveat and say that during the election right now, hashtags have been like turned off because of bullshit going on. So using them right now and trying to search on the app for some things may look differently than they normally do, but I was very intrigued by this formula that they gave in terms of hashtags, and I'm excited to start to use this. So overall, Instagram will let you use 30 hashtags on a post. Chalene and Brock recommend that you use 28. So you don't go over, it's like still right at the top. And they basically have a formula in terms of how to figure out which hashtags to use. And they've broken it down to be like 15 niche hashtags, 10 hashtags that are specific to that post and the topic that you're talking about, and then 3 industry kind of like bigger hashtags. So that gets you to your 28. And basically within Instagram, when you're in there, like when you go into the search and you start typing in words like new mom or something, basically at the top, there's a thing that says tags. It will tell you that hashtag, like how many people are actually, like how many posts actually have it. And if you go on top and then click on it, you could see like the top posts that actually rank for that hashtag. And it seems like within 2020, a lot of what they are doing is not necessarily by the number of followers that a person has to rank high. It's more about the engagement that they're getting on that post. So Chalene, who has probably like 750,000 to 1 million followers, if not more, has said that she's seen accounts that have 300 or 400 followers rank high for certain hashtags because they're just reaching a lot of people and there's a ton of comments on the posts. So hashtags are really where it's like fair game if you take the time to do the research and also to interact with other people that use those same hashtags. So they had this little exercise. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. This is more of like a homework assignment, but basically the exercise that they had us do were like writing down kind of different topics that were related really to your niche and then finding 3 hashtags per that topic. And the key is that those hashtags should have between 20,000 to 500,000 posts related to them. If it's less than 20K, it's kind of like, not a lot of people are using it. And if it's over 500K, like too many people are using it and you'll probably never get found. And then basically when you're doing post specific hashtags, you think about what you're posting about and think like, what could this be related to? So if it's about food, it could be about nutrition, meal prep, meal planning, a meal plan to follow, diet plan, like stuff like that, and just find it within there. And again, staying kind of like within those rails. And this is just an example that they gave that I thought was helpful to kind of see some of it that you guys can use too. And basically, like you can save this on the notes in your phone and just know that like when I talk about nutrition, I do this. When I talk about fitness, I do this. If I talk about business, I do this. If I talk about, I don't know, meal planning, I do this. And just kind of having all of those different ones saved so that you can go back to them and you don't have to like recreate the wheel every time. Some insights that she gave about hashtags that I thought was really helpful for me was you can really use the hashtags that you're using to help figure out what you should post more about if you get stuck about that. So like if I'm searching new mom, I could see what some of the top trending posts are for new mom, and that could give me inspiration to recreate that post in my own way. If there's any quotes or memes like that rank high for something that you're doing, you could always repost that because it's obviously been proven to work well for that hashtag, and hopefully that should help attract more people that would use that hashtag to your account. I think there's also a way that you can find if there are any trends that you can see in those top posts for those hashtags too. So the example that she gave that made a lot of sense was like, maybe hashtag fitness tips are all actual videos or reels and not static photos, where like fit mom would include a kid in the picture, or meal plan or meal planning would be the food laid out and not someone cooking. So taking notes of like, if you're using the right types of hashtags for the type of content that you're posting is super important. And then always screenshot like posts for inspiration and go back to them and kind of use them for when you're planning your own content. Okay, then going into insights. So once you have your business account set up, the really cool thing is that for free, you basically get analytics like telling you how your content is doing. So basically on your page, you would go to the insights tab, and then there's all of this in-depth data that you can go into about the number of accounts that you've reached, the content interactions, and like your followers and people who are following you and unfollowing you, and like what time of the day, male versus female, what cities. It's actually pretty cool. And oh shit. And then I recommend, I'm starting to do this every Sunday now. I basically made a Google sheet for myself, and I'm keeping track of my stats week over week. So I'm going to literally see like if one week does better than the other and like why, and kind of just tracking like what I'm posting and see how it goes. You can also really dig deep into your content over time, like further than just 7 days, to see what gets the most reach, likes, comments, shares, like all types of things. So that's off of your insights as well. And you basically, where this thing says reach, you can like select the different metric. And again, the thing to remember is that like is not king. You really want to get more in-depth interaction with your content. So comments, saves, and shares, those are a deeper level of kind of like interaction that Instagram values a lot higher. And when you look at reach, impressions, and profile visits, that helps you understand content that went a little bit more viral, that was reached by people who don't probably already follow you. Okay. I have like less than 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna try to go as quick as possible so this can all be recorded. So again, just going into kind of the Instagram algorithm, it's understanding that frequency and depth of your interactions, along with like the content type, is this predictable behavior that Instagram starts to put together. So like they're taking a look at when you're on, what you're interacting with, and then they continue to show you more of that stuff with other like accounts. So that's also why you continue to see posts from people that you've interacted with most recently. So hopefully if people start to interact with you, they will see you more in their feed. Okay. Again, this is going into like kind of what counts as engagement. We know all of these things like comments, blah, blah, blah. Giving more, sorry, I'm losing myself a little bit here. Again, it's just giving them more ideas in terms of how you can keep people engaged in your feed. So asking questions, giving them a reason to like, share, save something, how to keep their attention, like when you have carousels and there's more things to swipe through, that's more time on your profile versus like one static picture. A reel, they'd like watch a video for a certain number of seconds. Make sure that you're always replying to all comments that you ever get. And if you can reply with another question, that can help keep the conversation going. In terms of stories, which again, I said was kind of like engaging people that already follow you, but there's a bunch of tips in here of like how you can keep them interesting and keep people wanting to continue to engage in your content. And that's basically once they're following you, like how can you keep them interested in all of that. They had a really great idea in terms of, so if you don't know, when you have over 10,000 followers, you can have like a swipe up feature to link to a website in your story, which is great, but to be honest, you don't necessarily know like who's clicking through, so it's not like a great way to follow up. But a good way that if you don't have a swipe up feature, you can always use a poll and have direct interaction with people if you're trying to give something away. So I do this a lot for boot camp, like, do you want more info about this? I saw Jack did this the other week, like maybe you give away a free recipe. Like it doesn't even have to be them asking about something that like costs money, but like getting someone to push that button and then you start a DM conversation and you're giving them something of value, that's serving a potential customer. And the fact that now you've engaged with that person back and forth and privately, you're going to show up more in their feed. So thinking about things like that. This is a really good thing I know Corey was interested in. So they had kind of a formula of like, before you make your posts, how to maximize your engagement in the app so that your post will show up to more people. And it's basically like, be a little active first, then post your shit, then interact with other people. So it's keeping you on the app a little bit longer. But by doing these things and engaging with more people, this was like their recommended checklist to maximize feed engagement. So the first thing would be to post your stories before you post your post, because as you know, your circle will move to the beginning because you posted again for all of your followers. Posting your content, commenting your hashtags. So they did say that they literally talked to Instagram, and Instagram said it does not matter if you include your hashtag in your post or in your first comment. However, your post will look a hell of a lot cleaner without a bajillion hashtags in it. So they recommended that you just post your post and then the first comment is your hashtags. Okay, then they want you to go back to your post from the previous day and like any comments that you got. So they definitely recommend that you're always like engaging, and whenever a comment comes in, like comment as quickly as possible, but don't like it right away, like it the next day. So it's kind of like another reason that you're pinging the person that you had talked to, so hopefully they go back to your profile. Then you can share that feed post to your story with curiosity. So maybe you put a Giphy sticker on top of it. Maybe you cover up part of the picture. Maybe you say, hey, I need your opinion, or I really want you to comment on this post. Like do something where it's not totally giving it away. And then last, they want you to go and comment on a few active followers' posts. So again, it being like a two-way street of like, you can't expect to just post and people come to you. Like you need to put some effort into other people too. Doing that from followers or from people that you follow is going to show more engagement as well. So this is kind of the checklist that you should just have in terms of what to do every time you're going to post on your feed. Asking for, oh my God, asking for engagement. Again, here's like more creative examples of what you can be saying in your posts to kind of get people to interact more than just liking. Okay, I literally have 1 minute left. Let me go to the good things. So right now, Instagram is favoring Reels, IGTV, then Live, then video posts, then static image posts. So like this gives you an idea of the type of content that you're putting out and like what Instagram is going to show to people more is more you talking, you being on video, or at least having like more than one picture in your feed. So definitely keep that in mind when you're planning out your content. There's a bunch of real content ideas, which I liked. Some tips about how to keep people engaged during all of it. Some ideas about IG lives as well, which now also you can do a live. You can go live and then you can download it and upload it to IGTV a lot easier than you used to be able to. Some other content ideas. You can also do like slides in your lives. That was a little over my head, so you don't have to get that fancy. And then content planning.